Welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network, coming to you from the TeacherCast studios since 2011. Join us each week as we bring you the latest educational news, EdTech updates, and hottest interviews with today's most influential leaders in education. And now, for your host, Jeff Bradbury.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us today and making TeacherCast your home for professional development. This is Ask the Tech Coach podcast, episode number 68. Welcome to November. Today, we're going to be talking all about 5 things that we can do to encourage tech integration for all staff members. And this November, we're going to be helping you solve that very problem in all of our episodes. As we turn our page into November, it is getting colder. The weather is getting a little bit more chilly, and I hope you guys are enjoying what is starting off to be a great second marking period for me and all of my students up in our new middle school. We've been doing some great things in the term of technology education. Our first marking period in our tech integration class is all about building websites, learning about slides, learning about drawings. I've had a great time in my new role as a broadcast journalism teacher. We're now getting into podcasting, and I want to hear what you guys are doing, both as tech coaches and with your teachers. You can, of course, check out everything over on the podcast at AskTheTechCoach.com. Leave us a message over on Twitter at AskTheTechCoach. We would love to hear from you guys and happy to have you guys share with us some of your great links, resources, and some of the amazing things that you guys are doing out there. I was just working this weekend on some of the things that I'm going to be doing in my second marking period with our kids. We're going to be doing a little project-based learning, do a little project on how to rebuild our middle school, and I'm calling it Middle School 2.0. I'm having a great time putting it together, and we'll be sharing some of the things that we can do, because it doesn't take that much time, right, guys? It doesn't take that much time to look at a problem, figure out what we can do, and then, of course, do a little bit of tech integration magic onto it. And today, we're going to be talking about 5 ways that we can encourage tech integration in all of our staff members. Let's face it, as tech coaches, it ain't easy, right? If you look at the bell curve, you're going to realize that there's a good percentage of teachers out there that are going to get it. They want to get on there. You bring in a new piece of software or a new, marker board or something like that. You realize that between 5 and 8% of your teachers are just going to jump on it right away. Then you've got another group that takes a little bit of time to get started, but once they see what it is, then they're on their way and then they're moving it. And then there's that other side of the bell curve, the kind that say, well, if everyone else is doing it, well, I'll give it a try too. And then on the far right of that bell curve, that's who we're going to be talking about this month. How do we get everybody? How do we get those laggards on there? How do we get those people that are just going to say things like, look, it's just a fad, I'm not going to do it. Or, hey, I've been doing it this way for a long time. You can't make me change. Or my favorite, the ones that say, look, I'm retiring in 3 years. Why bother changing my ways now? And it all really is about making things simple. And that is why I am so thrilled to be partnering up for all of our shows this week, and this month, I should say, with an amazing company called Dino. Now, Dino is a great application that is being used by schools and school districts worldwide. Now, when technology teams plan for proper technology integration, it is absolutely crucial to think about how teachers are going to manage student devices and distractions during class. Now, you and I both know as tech coaches how easy it is to scare a teacher into using technology or not to use technology because they're not understanding how simple it can be to create a digital lesson. Now, Dino's classroom management software empowers you and empowers your teachers to teach with technology by enabling real-time visibility of student activity to identify off-task behavior and redirect that behavior with blocking or messaging. Guys, I'm telling you, this is absolutely a one-stop shop and a great piece of software to help your teachers get comfortable with technology integration. And additionally to that, Dino enables teachers to create blocking plans, facilitate formative assessments, and view student history after their class is finished. I've been working with this team for the last couple weeks, and I absolutely know that the Dino team understands that as a tech coach, the time that teachers dedicate to professional development and maximizing instructional minutes is invaluable. So their software is designed to help empower teachers who use devices in the classroom and ensure that your work as a tech coach is maximized. Now, we know that Dino defeats device distraction, so you have the confidence that your time and investment in learning technology is reaching its full potential. Help empower your teachers to embrace technology integration, knowing that their students are on task during class with Dino. You can, of course, learn more about Dino over at dyno.com. That's DYKNOW.com. KNOW.com. Now, the cool thing is TeacherCast and Dino are partnering up for all of the shows this month on Ask the Tech Coach. And Dino, because of it, is giving our listeners of the Ask the Tech Coach podcast a limited time free trial offer. Claim yours today over at teachercast.net/Dino. That's teachercast.net/DYKNOW. And you guys will receive a very limited time offer. Check them out today over at Dyno.com. Now, I want to start off by mentioning some of the reflections we had from last week. Last week's show was all about the importance of having school district buy-in with your EdTech integration plan. Last week, we also had a great guest, Josh Stamper, on, an amazing administrator who helped me really talk and wrap up our entire month of October with our EdTech integration plans. And we had a few teachers call in. We even had a few teachers email us and ask us questions about that. We would certainly encourage you guys to do that over on teachercast.net, or you can write to us over at feedback@teachercast.net. Now, let's talk a little bit about encouraging staff members, right? Because we have one job as tech coaches. It is to model. It is to encourage. It is to inspire. Our job is to help bring that vision that we've been talking about with our tech integration plans, that vision of our district, and really implement those visions into the classroom. Now, 5 ways that we can do that. Really, it's just that tip of the iceberg. There's so many different things that we can talk about today, but really, when it comes to figuring out how we can bring technology into our classrooms, it really is about the first step here. That first step is about defining, creating a broad definition of what technology integration looks like for our staff members. Now, where do we get this information? We get this information back in our staff surveys that we talked about last month. We get that information from our strategic plan, from our EdTech integration plan. We have that definition from our administrators of what does tech integration look like. When administrators walk into our classrooms and they see teachers doing things, what does it look like? Now, the problem with this is that it's a wide variety of options. On one hand, technology integration could be simple. It could be a teacher simply using something like a BrainPop or a Kahoot. Maybe those teachers have never used technology. Maybe they're scared of it. Maybe they're not sure what's out there. Just getting them to use a basic application, again, like a Kahoot or a BrainPop, that might be a huge mountain for teachers to run over. However, on the other side, you're going to have teachers that are just like you, that are doing advanced web design, that are getting ready for the hour of code, that are bringing robotics into the any conversation that they're using. They're out there doing the things because they are inspired and because they want to bring an entirely brand new innovative curriculum. But it all is about going in a direction that is clearly defined by your administration, by that strategic plan. You are going to be having some kind of teacher out there that says, I want to forget paper completely. I want to create a fully digital class, either a learning management system using something like Google Classroom, Schoology, Canvas, or I want to do something where I'm going to be doing project-based learning. I'm going to be creating breakout EDUs. I'm going to be doing something that's really challenging, not only to the students, but to that teacher. And I completely I'm finding these days as both a teacher and a tech coach, I fit right into that. I'm trying to do something interesting in my class, but at the same time, I'm trying to support teachers who are still nervous of how to even use the Chromebooks that all the students are walking around. Fortunately for us, we've got a variety of models, right? We've got the SAMR model that helps us figure out substitution and augmentation and modification and reimagination. And one thing we haven't really talked a lot about here on Ask the Tech Coach is TPAC, a great system that helps you define the technology and figure out a great way to move forward in a digital environment. We'll do a show about that at some point in time this year. I promise you on that one. So the first thing that we want to do to encourage our tech integration for all of our staff members is to make that definition. What does it look like? Second thing for us as tech coaches is to work with the teachers inside their classrooms to model it. Let's face it, again, not every teacher is comfortable. Not every teacher is comfortable working with us as tech coaches because they feel that if they are uncomfortable, we as tech coaches might intimidate them. So for those teachers, I always start and try to model. Can I come into your class? Can I show you something? Can I borrow 10 minutes of time with your students? I'll show you how this works, and then let's get together and see what we can do here, right? I always focus on one or two applications, either in my district or in a building. And I generally have a rotation, right? Like September, I'm going to focus on some of the easier things, docs and slides. And then probably by October, November, I might focus on things like spreadsheets and forms. And it gets a little bit more trickier as the year goes on. I also offer to teach them digital citizenship because digital citizenship stuff, rolls into your emails and your communications and your comments and Google Docs and ways that students are interacting with each other and web search. And sometimes it's an easy start for you to get into those classes and have those conversations with the kids. But really, you're modeling it for the teachers. You're showing the teachers how to integrate seamlessly all of these things. So that way you're not doing a digital citizenship class. You're just teaching while mentioning digital citizenship topics. And also, it helps you highlight your tech-infused teachers and what they are here to model. I always invite other teachers to watch, and I always try to see what we can do to have as many teachers collaborate both in and out of the classrooms as absolutely possible. So first thing I always do, we define. Second thing, we model. Third thing here is we're going to be focusing on the curriculum and not the tech. There's so many school districts out there that have tech coaches and literacy coaches and math coaches. I kind of believe that a coach is just a coach. We are all here to do the same thing. We are here to help move the curriculum forward, no matter what the focus is, right? We know that teachers by nature are curriculum driven, right? Your upper teachers have a degree or have advanced degrees in a topic. And your younger teachers have degrees that span all of K-5 or K-6. And I always find that helping your teachers through their curriculum is so much easier than helping your teachers learn a technology skill. And you find this, right? If you're a young tech coach and you call yourself technology coach or tech integration specialist, it is easy to walk into a classroom and focus on Microsoft apps or Google apps or Docs or whatever it is. But we always want to sit back and say, why are we here? We're here to help with curriculum. We're here to help with the subjects, with the topics, with the standards. We're here to help teachers better prepare students with those. And oh, by the way, we're doing it through our technology. We're doing it through Google Apps or through Microsoft Office 365 or Dino or whatever we happen to have. We are here to focus on what the teacher knows, get those great conversations going, and then throw in a few different things. Help them expand their ideas by helping them with a lesson, helping them with a project, maybe something that they've done for the last couple of years, and then say, oh, why don't we just do what you've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years? But instead of this component, let's throw in something just a little bit different. Let's enhance that just a little bit. Maybe we'll make it easier on you. And I find if we take what they're used to doing, what they've already got done, and you add one small component, one little thing, maybe throw an app in, maybe throw hey, instead of paper, you do this digitally. Sometimes that is a great way to get teachers on your side and make a new BFF. One of the other things that's in here is always encouraging teachers to share their lesson plans with you and invite them. So for instance, I might have a meeting with a teacher and say, share with me what you got. Let's see what we can do, right? Like you always want to make sure the teachers are comfortable with you and also comfortable with the technology. So again, that always goes back to that second thing we mentioned, modeling. Try to figure out how you and that teacher can be teammates, tag team partners in this game, and try to figure out how to move forward. Now, the fourth thing here is something that you're probably already doing, or at least at this point in time in the year, starting to look at, right? And that's providing simple step-by-step guides for your teachers, showing off how easy this can be. Now, I got to tell you, I work with a lot of tech coaches. Many of them do this not as efficient as possible. They'll put out one newsletter and it's all about Kahoot and BrainPop and Google Slides. And then the next newsletter, they're talking all about, 3 completely different applications. And I got to tell you, for us as tech coaches, that might be easy because we want to throw a lot of great stuff out there. But if you're a teacher who's new, who's overwhelmed, who's teaching 9 classes with 30 kids each, and you're they're crazy, overwhelmed with everything they have to do. If every newsletter looks completely different and is coming out of a completely different ballpark, your teachers are not going to be listening to this. So I always look at my newsletters as a spider web. Week 1, I'm going to talk about some topics. I'm going to introduce 2 or 3 applications. The next week, I'm going to deeper dive into 2 of those applications, and I'm going to link back to the first newsletter. That third newsletter, I'm going to go even deeper down the rabbit hole. Maybe by that point in time, throw some examples, throw some videos, throw some whatever, throw some real world examples. And again, link back to episode 1 and episode 2, and so on and so forth. So you're using your newsletter to scaffold what's going on. A great way to use newsletters is through s'mores, through Google Docs if you want to. Google Slides is a great way to do it. Personally, I like making websites with all of my staff newsletters. It just keeps things easy, right? So s'mores, slide decks, Google Sites, crib sheets, there's a lot of different things that you can do. But my suggestion to you is to figure out a way to scaffold everything and also link to it, right? Because you figure out most of your newsletters are emails, and teachers are either going to delete the email or they're going to archive it, but they're certainly not looking at it constantly. So if you have newsletters that link to each other, it increases the opportunity for them to go, hey, I'm going to go back to step 1 and then keep going down there. Now, the last thing here, is really, really important. But before we get to that, I want to do a gut check. I want to see how you guys are doing, because basically right now, we're starting November, and you might be a tech coach going, look, I'm new. I've got a lot of buildings to worry about. I got a lot of administrators to worry about. I'm looking for help. I'm looking for support. I need somebody out there to hold my hand a little bit. I'm looking for other tech coaches to connect to. And that is why I'm so proud of the work that we're doing as a group, as a collective group of tech coaches on our TeacherCast Mastermind. Now, every single month, a group of tech coaches gets together and we talk about what's going on in our classrooms, in our school buildings, in our jobs, and we're all here to support each other. As part of the Mastermind, you have the opportunity to have digital lessons, digital learning. We have 2 online courses that are available to you guys, and it is a very amazing experience for these tech coaches to come together every single month and really just learn that we're not alone in this. If you're a tech coach out there, whether it be one of many in a group, or perhaps like I used to be, I was one tech coach in a school district with 6 buildings I was working on. It's a very, very daunting task. So I encourage you guys to head on over to teachercast.net/mastermind today. Check out the great program that we offer, and you can still make a part of this. Our next mastermind meeting is on Wednesday and Thursday, November 13th and 14th. And the way we do it is you can choose one meeting, you can choose 2 meetings, you can come to either one, whatever works for you. But we've got multiple opportunities every single month for you to get together with other tech coaches and really share what's going on. Check it out today, teachercast.net/mastermind. That's teachercast.net/mastermind. Now, we've talked a little bit about ways that we can encourage this tech integration, right? We talked about encouraging it by giving it a definition. What does it look like? We even talked about encouraging it by helping teachers in their classrooms modeling what we're going to be doing or what's expected of us. We've talked about encouraging by helping teachers focus on the curriculum, the things that they know about, and also how we as tech coaches can provide a logical, seamless, step-by-step guide, tutorials, written content, video content, what have you, that's going to help your teachers in their time of needs with the applications that they're working on. But here's the last thing. And I got to say, after being a tech coach I'm in my 5th year now, this is absolutely the most important. Are you ready? The last thing I want you to think about here is not overcomplicating things. I don't even have a different word. Don't overcomplicate conversations. I am so guilty of this constantly. Somebody, and I'll call him a stranger, comes up to me and says, could you help me with this? I'm having a problem. What do you think? Do you have a solution for this? And they're genuinely looking for help. They're being vulnerable with you, let's say. And I run into this problem constantly where the first thing I do is I just vomit all over them with all of this information, right? I start by saying, look, that's great. Why don't you try a slide and then we can do this and then we can make it on our website, then we can put a video to it and then we can... And I sometimes forget just to step back and breathe and say to them, yes, we can do that. I sometimes stop and say, I forget to say things like, tell me more. What are you looking to do? All of the stuff that we talk about here on the show, I am very guilty of forgetting to do that myself. And that is one of the biggest things that we can do to encourage. Just invite your teachers to talk to you. Have them get to know you. Don't overwhelm them all at once. I know that I can give them 7 or 8 steps. I know I can give them 5 or 6 different ways. And I know that you can do that too. But the biggest way that we can encourage technology integration in our classrooms is to just listen to teachers when they come. Only give them the information that they want. And then while you're doing that, then you can throw in one thing. Then you can throw in a little curveball with, oh, by the way, you don't want to overwhelm your teachers, right? You don't want to jump into that first conversation by giving them a ton of new ideas and getting them scared to come back to you. Worse yet, having them talk about you in the lunchroom as, oh, that tech coach knows way too much, I'm intimidated, or I don't ever want to go back there. He's going to make me do something I wasn't ready for. I was asking for 1 apple, and he gave me an entire orchard of pears. We want to make sure that everything that we're asking them is simple. We know what their goal is, and sometimes it's easy for us to say to them, maybe we don't want to do tech. For instance, if I know that a teacher isn't a tech person and they come to me or we're having a conversation, 8 times out of 10, I'll probably recommend things that aren't technology driven. And then I'll say, well, can I come in and help you do those things as well? So that way they see you as not the tech coach, but that friend, that mentor, that person that they can come to for whatever lesson. And that certainly starts to help build those seeds for then diving into, oh, by the way, that you can do this with a Google Doc. Or, hey, I find that slides is a great way. Can I help you with this on your next lesson? Getting to have them know you a little bit more as a person is certainly going to help them be comfortable bringing you into their classrooms to help them out with technology integration. But I got to tell you guys, that is not everything, right? There are so many different things that we can do. And that's why next week on the show, episode number 69, we're going to be talking about 5 simple to use applications that make tech integration available for all teachers. We're going to take each of these different ideas that we talked about today, and we're going to introduce 5 simple applications that I've been using successfully in more than one school district, and how you guys can build upon what's been going on in my tech coaching world, because we are all here to help you guys. And that, one more time, is why we are so proud to be partnering up with our friends at Dino. Don't forget to check them out over at teachercast.net/Dino. And we want to say thank you for partnering with us this entire month. We've got some great things coming out over at Ask the Tech Coach. 2 amazing new blogs are going to be popping out all about technology integration this month. And of course, we're going to be talking about that very subject over on our Mastermind this month on November 13th and 14th. You can join those meetings by going over to teachercast.net/mastermind and signing up today for a 6 or 12-month plan. That is teachercast.net/mastermind. So on behalf of everybody here in the TeacherCast Educational Network and Ask the Tech Coach, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you to keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.
You've been listening to the TeacherCast Educational Network, hosted by Jeff Bradbury. Please reach out to the show with all of your questions on Twitter @TeacherCast or online at www.teachercast.net. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And please take a moment to write a review in the App Store.